Just getting back here from McLaren event at CTMP. With Sport Driving Canada, the coaching group that I work with through the dealership work, we also had the opportunity of working with their McLaren dealership. Just today and yesterday we were at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park at the GP track, getting to test out some of the new lineup of brand new McLarens and working with some of those clients of PFAFF and showing them exactly how those cars work on track. New McLaren Artura. You go from electric, let's toggle up here. Engines. Just a breeze, that's all I need. Don't blink while I pick up speed. You better get back, you better get back, you better get back. Just a breeze, that's all I need. Don't blink while I pick up speed. Fortunately, we have plenty of guys in the shop that are able to start making progress with work while I'm away or while Trevor's away, and just wrapping up from some of our ChampCar race. So let's go see how the guys are doing. I know Trevor and I need to unload that EK and come up with a plan of what we're going to do next on that car.
Your song is playing on the radio. I close my eyes and I already know. Today I'm living life in stereo. I got you with me everywhere I go. Your song is playing all the frequencies. I'm all about what you've been telling me. 'Cause you can guide me to the skies above. A voice I never heard before.
We've got the EK on the lift gate. Feels like a lifetime ago, but when you immediately go to another event, that tends to happen. Watkins Glen was pretty good for us here.
We had a lot of fun.
It's great to get back into one of these chassis, one of the earlier cars that we started TWOth with, and really see where things have come together. This being our 18th Civic EK or EG hatchback build. We're really happy where everything has gone with the EK and EG chassis. The cage work, the suspension, interior.
The motors have been pretty stout over the years.
Yeah, motors have been great for ChampCar when we wanted to race in the ChampCar class, and at that time we were competing for the A class win with anything under a 2-liter motor. The challenge with using 90s components is a lot of those metals and materials that we're using for the builds now have been sitting either in someone's driveway, being driven, or in a junkyard for the last 20 years, and not always treated the best. So when it comes to the economics of motorsport, for us to build these B-Series engines actually gets more expensive than building a new motor. Our new TCA Civic, because they're newer motors, because they're more reliable, we're actually able to run a lot longer and harder on those engines with better performance and better technology to be able to read some of that data and analyze what's going on with that engine. So these engines are actually getting more expensive for us to operate than a brand new motor, than the TCA that Trev's racing this season. That said, we really wanted to use this chassis to test it out, have some fun with the old girl again at a fun track that we like, but see what else there is we want to do with this car and what direction we should be going with this chassis. And I think it's fairly unanimous. What's the motor that you're running in the TCA, Trev?
It's an L15B, so it's a 1.5 liter turbo single cam engine out of the CRVs, the Honda Civics, and Civic Si.
So it's 1.5 liter motor. How much power does it put out?
In stock, they're 175 to 200 horse. So depending on which motor we get.
Over a B18B non-VTEC, which puts down maybe
135, 140 horse?
Yeah, 135, 140 at the wheels is all we're able to get out of these. Now with these also, the older Honda motors make their power at high RPM. So you're talking a power band of about 6,000 to 8,000 RPM. On these, we try to trim down that RPM rev limit to about 7,000 RPM. That not only gave us better fuel economy, but it also kept the RPMs down enough so that if a driver happened to have a misshift, they weren't screaming it to 9,000 RPM or 10,000 RPM where they would blow the motor. Now we would build the motors with a forged internal, so forged rods, pistons, redo all the bearings, but again, that takes a lot of time and money and becomes a little cost prohibitive to run one of these old chassis with those motors.
By the time you were done an engine build from top to bottom, you were $4,000 to $5,000 between machine work and parts.
Yeah.
And
So
time.
the beauty of this new TCA motor, what's a new TCA from HPD?
The brand new HPD motor was $7,000 landed.
Canadian.
Yeah.
So for us to get a brand new motor from a brand new Civic SI, long block, fairly well dressed.
Yeah, it was completely well dressed. That was wiring, down to oil pan, turbo, intake manifold, exhaust system, alternator, flywheel, everything.
I think that'd be pretty badass to run a 1.5 liter turbocharged.
so.
So now we have to figure out how to get an L15 into the EK. Not too many people have done it, but I think there are a few mount kits. We'll have to figure out axles.
Axles, some wiring, an ECU, and then building the exhaust. That's about it. Everything else is very similar to what we already have. In terms of cooling systems, it should be relatively simple. It's about sourcing the parts that's going to be the difficult part.
Wow. Good thing we have some nice connections with Kawartha Lakes Honda
Yeah.
and HPD working with us on some of the development as well with that new TCA car. So I think it'd be a pretty cool project. Time to unload this thing, clean her up.
All that's left is everything.
All right. This here is the brand new 2023 Civic Si from our friends at Kawartha Lake Honda. This is the street car version of the car Trevor races right now in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada. Brand new Civic. We are fortunate to get our hands on them. They're hard to come by, but for us this gives us the perfect platform not only to compare to the race car, but to get some ideas for some of our older cars. Let's take a look at some of the differences and changes that have happened in the last 96 to 2023.
Yep.
Very well, but it's a long ass time.
It's 27 years.
27. Sparkly. Very sparkly. First thing we'll notice, it's actually surprisingly open though. You don't have all the big engine covers, so at least we can see where everything goes. Now here, obviously, a little bit different from the B series, where we've got a nice set of headers here. On this car, we've got a turbocharger coming right off the exhaust manifold. So packaging, I think we've got plenty of space back there, but we'll have to see where that motor is going to be sitting inside the engine bay.
Well, in a car like this, obviously we have the battery up front that we'll get rid of, right? We won't have that when it comes to our cars. Normally the older Civics have the batteries up front, but we relocate those, so that makes a little more space. The intake manifold, we probably wouldn't use that on the race car side of things, but a lot of the electronics, a lot of the cooling system stuff, that all transfers right over. It's just the engine mounts that we have to get taken care of, and then the axles that go to each wheel.
What about electronics to be able to communicate with that motor?
So we can use the factory ECU. We just got to get it programmed by another company to remove the immobilizer and to remove all the other body control module stuff, so that the ECU only really thinks it needs to control the engine. Because obviously in the race cars, we have nothing else in these things that they need to worry about. No ABS, no stability management, no body control module stuff for doors and lights and everything else.
You don't even have boosted brakes and nothing.
Oh, there's not even boosted brakes, exactly. It's got a very firm pedal on it. So there's a lot of things that this ECU is normally used to take care of that we're going to make sure it doesn't take care of anymore.
Can we put AC in that thing?
We actually probably could. You're probably right. If we had the efficiency of the radiators, we could probably put AC in it. It would probably be pretty neat to... But the problem is with race cars, you have wide open windows, so you lose the efficiency of the AC. But it would be pretty neat to put out 200 horse and have AC.
Then again, we can use the chill out system in the race car, so realistically, we don't need the AC. I think this motor would be a great package putting in that thing. I don't think many people have done it before, so I think it'd be a great opportunity to educate people on the build process and how we plan that stuff out. And the execution, obviously. Hopefully we can get this car on track with one of these motors by the end of the year here at Calabogie.
Bossed up, go hard, or go home. All I do is win, boy, quick, fast, get too slow. See them next to none, get the best of them. My whole team put the pressure on. Sweat trip, yeah, play for real. Lose the streak is what you take it home. Girl, you know we go hard when it's game time. See me on the front lines when it's game time. Hope you got your game on when it's game time.